Bitcoin, the word itself is powerful. It's synonymous with wealth, innovation, and for some, regret. Regret they didn't buy sooner. Regret they didn't hold longer. And regret they underestimated the revolution it was sparking. And many crypto investors make the same mistake over and over again. They think it's too expensive. They focus too much on the price. Today, I'm going to tell you how investing regularly into Bitcoin can still make you rich. But first, I want to talk about a problem that's coming up regularly in my crypto community on school, and that is not having enough money to invest into crypto. Now, I get it. The cost of living, because of inflation, is very difficult, and it's hard finding spare money to invest. But I believe with everything I've got that when you get Bitcoin and crypto, you get that this is the biggest opportunity of our lives investing wise. You find a way to invest. Now, I'm not being blasé, I actually practice what I preach. Let me take you back to 2022. I worked 67 days every week for the full year, and all my overtime money went on crypto investing. When you get Bitcoin and crypto, you find a way to invest, like getting a bar job on the weekend and using the extra income to invest. Now, hopefully, the info I'm about to share will convince you to find a way. And if you stay until the end, you will know how regular investing can make you rich over the next few years. I want you to imagine it's 2013. Bitcoin is sitting at around $100. Some people are calling it magic internet money. Others are laughing it off as a scam. But a few people saw the potential. They held on tight through the crashes, through the FUD, and today they are multi-millionaires. Fast forward to 2025, where we are now, Bitcoin has matured. Institutions are buying in. Regulations are coming into play, and yet opportunity is far from gone. Understanding the market cycle. Bitcoin operates on market cycles, bull runs and bear markets. Since its inception, Bitcoin has seen major bull runs approximately every 4 years, driven by its halving events. Each halving reduces the block reward miners receive, effectively cutting the new supply of Bitcoin in half. This built-in scarcity is a catalyst for massive price action. Understanding these cycles is key. Historically, after each halving, Bitcoin experiences a surge in price due to decreased supply and increased demand. For example, in 2012, Bitcoin was around $12, and after the first halving, it skyrocketed to over $1,000. 2016, it was around $600, and after that halving, it reached nearly $20,000 by the end of 2017. 2020, it was approximately 9,000, and we saw it explode past 60,000 in 2021. Each time, the price floor is higher than before, and those who held through the bear markets saw massive returns. If you understand these cycles, you can capitalize on the low points and maximize gains during the peaks. This means knowing when to accumulate and when to hold, even when the market seems bleak. The real winners are the ones who understand that bear markets are not times to panic. They are times to accumulate. And if you really want to win in crypto, you think a little bit longer term. On that note, if you want to know how I've invested into crypto over the last 4 years, see below for a recent video. Long-term holding vs short-term trading. One of the biggest mistakes new investors make is trying to time the market. The truth is, nobody can time the market perfectly, not even the professionals. But you don't need to. Historically, those who simply held on to their Bitcoin for 5 years or more have almost always seen significant returns. It's about patience and conviction. Take the example of the early adopters who bought Bitcoin back in 2013 or even 2015. Some of them witnessed crashes of 80% or more, yet those who held on saw their investments multiply exponentially. It's easy to panic sell when headlines scream about Bitcoin crashes, but the data is clear. Those who held won. Strategy tip. Instead of stressing over daily price movements, set a long-term goal. Accumulate Bitcoin regularly through dollar cost averaging DCA and hold. Ignore the noise. This strategy ensures you're always buying whether the market is up or down, allowing you to capture the average cost over time. But we will go over this with a worked example in a few minutes as I tell you how you can still get rich with Bitcoin. Before we go any further, this video, as always, isn't financial advice. the institutional wave and global adoption. What's different now compared to 2013, 2017, or even 2021? The institutional wave. Banks, hedge funds, and even governments are getting involved. BlackRock, Fidelity, and major financial institutions have filed for Bitcoin ETFs that were approved last year. This is validation. It's infrastructure that's been built for global adoption. Just look at the recent moves by financial giants. BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, managing over $10 trillion in assets, had its Bitcoin ETF approved in January 2024. And this was the most successful ETF launch of all time. Why this matters. When big money enters, it stabilizes the market, reduces volatility, and drives long-term growth. Big interest from the big boys and retail is why we are seeing Bitcoin being described as digital gold, a store of value that is increasingly seen as a hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty. The mindset of a Bitcoin millionaire. My mantra is mindset plus education plus investing equals financial freedom. I believe if you get the mindset side of investing right, you'll be okay. And if you want it badly enough, you will get financial freedom. Getting rich with Bitcoin isn't just about strategy, it's about mindset. The biggest winners in Bitcoin are the ones who held on when everyone else was selling. They saw crashes of 80% and still didn't sell. They understood that Bitcoin isn't just a currency, it's a revolution in finance. When the media is screaming FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, that's often when you should be buying. When everyone is euphoric, it's time to consider your exit. To monitor this, you can look at the Fear and Greed Index. This is data I monitor daily, along with Bitcoin dominance, global M2, etc. If you want to know how I'm putting it all together to take crypto profits in 2025, you can book a one-to-one call. See below for more details. How to get rich from Bitcoin. Over in Kazakhstan in late 2023, I was having several conversations with friends and colleagues about Bitcoin. The price of one Bitcoin was about $30,000. One of my mates had just sold a rental property and was considering buying one Bitcoin. He didn't because he was waiting for the price to drop below 20,000. It never did, and I remember him being absolutely devastated when Bitcoin was over 50,000. This is the mistake most people make. They focus too much on the price for one Bitcoin, not the returns or potential returns each year. According to Kervo, the average annualized return for Bitcoin has been 80.1% over the last 10 years. Let's assume that the returns won't be as high over the next 10 years. So we'll assume that Bitcoin will get you, on average, 50% returns each year over the next 10 years. This is based on historical data and on the opinions of some of the biggest names in finance, like Raoul Pal and Cathie Wood. Let's use an example of what you would get if you invested £500 every month for the next 10 years. So 500 each month for 10 years with an assumed, obviously not guaranteed, return of 50%, you would end up with a future sum of just over £1.5 million. So for me personally, I'm saying that it's definitely not too late to invest in a Bitcoin and that you can still get rich from Bitcoin. Let me know your thoughts below. Summary. So, is it still possible to get rich from Bitcoin? Absolutely, but it requires understanding market cycles, long-term holding, capitalizing on institutional adoption, diversifying within its ecosystem, and most importantly, having the mindset to hold strong when things get rough. Bitcoin may be more expensive than it was in 2013, but the opportunity is far from over. In fact, with global adoption on the rise, it may be just beginning. If this video made you think a little bit differently, hit the like button so more people can see it. Let's talk about it respectfully, logically, because the future is coming fast, and Bitcoin might just be the asset that secures your financial future.